Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to light this scene in Blender in just a few minutes. If you want to follow along with me, I have a link to my Patreon in the description where you can download this scene for yourself. Without wasting much time, make sure you like and subscribe, and let's get into this. Awesome, so we're in our scene right now. We have this beverage that I put together. And we also have some gobos down here, which you can download for free. I'll try to remember to leave a link in the description if you want those. But we don't need those for right now. We're just going to start with what I like to start with because, in my opinion, it looks the coolest. And that's the backlight. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is actually switch into a rendered view. And we're also going to drop the strength down to 0 in the world tab. You can always add more later if you think you need it. But I like to start with 0. Okay, so let's add our backlight. We're going to do this by just adding in an area light, which we use most of the time. Then just rotate that on the, you don't want it to be the same size as it, because you can see there's like cuts off some of the edges. So you want it to be wider than the product itself, but not too wide so it gets diffused. So just like this should be perfect. Obviously, strength is a really important thing. So we're going to increase this to about, I like to have this one pretty high. So I'm going to increase it all the way to 3000. There you go. You get really strong backlight. And I think that will look really well done for this product. And I'm actually going to move it over just a bit. So I'm kind of getting more of this label right here. If we switch to material view, I kind of want this right here. And that is the backlight. Now we move over to probably the most important light, and that's the key light. So what we're going to do is just add another area light, bring it up on the Z-axis, scale it, and move it over on the Y-axis, and then rotate it on the X-axis so it's facing the can. Now I want to aim this one at the label. Like I said, we're trying to get this logo right here, so we're going to move it over just a bit so it's kind of facing that angled towards that logo. And now I'm going to lower it a bit, and there we go. I'm going to scale that more. Now we're going kind of for a moody vibe in this one. So let's just make sure we're kind of keeping those shadows. So that's really important for this next light. And we're not actually going to use a light for it. This one's a little trick I like to use. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a plane. With that plane, you're going to move it back a bit. You're going to want to rotate it on the Y-axis. There you go. Scale it up so it's about the size of your product. You can do it just like this. Now you're going to go into edit mode and select both sides. You're then going to extrude it past the product. And you can see that's already doing something. We're going to just bevel these edges right here. So you get that nice bevel. Now I'm going to actually scale a bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. And there you go. Look, that already created a fill. The great thing about this is that we're not using light, but instead all these lights are bouncing off this wall right here. So we're kind of creating an environment. The most simple environment you can create. Now you can see there's a little bit of clipping there. And just move that over a bit. Now I think I kind of want it a little dimmer on this. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to come over here and just drop the base color just a little bit. Now I'm just going to tweak the lights a bit. I'm going to scale this one up another bit. You can always, if you don't want to drag this, I like to just drag the exposure, let's say 1, and now we get some more light right there. I'm also going to darken this just one more time a little bit. Now we can do the final part, which is probably one of the most important parts because it can either really add to your scene or take a lot away from it. We're going to add a plane again. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees, and we're going to scale it up a bit and then move it right behind, but you want it to be in frame. If you couldn't already tell, this is the backdrop. You're not going to want it too far back to the point where it gets lost in the light, but you're also going to want to have it just close enough so you can control both of the lights. And now look at that. We have a backdrop, but this is where I would take away. It's making the scene look really flat and boring. So we're going to kind of want to mix it up a bit. That's where our gobos come in. Now we have all these different options to choose from. I got this from Wendy's Gobo Lighting, and we're just going to choose, let's say, abstract. I think this would look good. So let's choose the abstract gobo. We're going to just bring that up, and I like to switch it away from a spotlight to an area light. And now if you look at this, it's going to look really small, but it'll make more sense when we move it closer. It's very strong, especially if you move it close. There you go. That's a strong gobo. So we're going to want to soften a bit, just a little bit. And by doing that, we can just scale it up a bit. So we keep that detail and we keep the variation, but it's still scaled up a bit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select a color that we think would look good with this scene. In this case, I think a light yellow would look good. Go yellow. And then what I'm going to do is increase the exposure so it's kind of blowing it out a bit. I think this would look really good for this scene. A great contrast from the light right here. I'm also gonna bring this fill right here just a little bit up so we're covering the whole bottle. I just realized that. So you can always mess with that. And now I'm gonna bring this down a bit. There we go. Okay, we can get back to this now. You're gonna kind of want it on the edges, the brightest part. So we can bring this exposure down. So we have one of the brightest parts on one edge. It's kind of on the edge. There we go. I want that part, and I'm actually gonna duplicate it, and I'm gonna select another color. Let's say a light shade of purple. I'm gonna come, this time it's gonna come from the corner. It's all about creative decision and creative decision making and what you think would look good. Sometimes it doesn't look good, and that's the fun of 3D, trying to make things look good. And there you go. You pretty much lit the scene. You can always check how it looks in rendered view, because sometimes I would say this is pretty solid. But one thing I definitely would change a little bit is just messing with this brightness up at the top, maybe scaling it even more. And then bringing down that saturation. And then you can mess in compositing. Here's what I have. I'm actually going to drop the vignette a little bit, just it's a little brighter. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how you light the scene in Blender. And this scene can really help change a lot. I hope this video helped you out with your lighting. And if you want to download this scene and try it out yourself, make sure you like and subscribe. And I hope I see you next time.